Hey people, hi. It's lovely to be here on a Monday morning just to welcome you today, and I hope you have a fantastic Monday. Now, we're talking about the road up to Jerusalem, the journey that Jesus took as he led the way to lead his disciples and the followers to his ultimate death. Now, if that had been me, I would have turned around and run in the opposite direction. If I knew that in a particular place there was going to be danger for me, I would go in another direction. If I knew that at this particular place something terrible was about to befall me, I would turn around and, like Jonah, head off for the other side. But Jesus, because he was so intent on fulfilling the will of God, so intent on fulfilling his purpose for mankind, he continued the journey, steadfast to fulfill and to finish his mission. Now, on the way there, Jesus has an interesting thing take place. Let me read it to you. And you find this in Mark chapter 11. The next day, as they were leaving Bethany, Jesus was hungry. Seeing in the distance a fig tree in leaf, he went to find out if it had any fruit. When he reached it, he found nothing but leaves, because it was not the season for figs. Then he said to the tree, may no one ever eat fruit from you again. And his disciples heard him say it. Then if you want to finish and see how the story ends, you go to verse 20. In the morning as they went along, they saw the fig tree withered from the root. Peter remembered and said to Jesus, Rabbi, look, the fig tree you cursed has withered. That's incredible. That here's this tree that promised much but delivered nothing. Promised fruit, but when he got there, there was nothing but leaves. Oh, I'm sure they were nice looking leaves. I'm sure it was a pretty looking tree. But the objective of a tree is not to look pretty. The objective of a tree is to bear fruit. And Jesus was declaring this tree to be a hypocritical tree. You see, hypocrisy is very simple. It's just simply that when I promise something and it looks like I'm going to do something and I don't do it, that's hypocrisy. It's kind of like lying, but it's in a more general sort of a term. It says so much about your character. It says so much about your untrustworthiness. It says so much about your intentions and your motives. And when we promise but don't deliver, we know that we are hypocrites. Now, I want to warn parents out there, or just throw out a little suggestion to you. Kids can smell hypocrisy a mile away. Your children are looking at you, and when you propound to your children the wonders of knowing Jesus and the love for the church and commitment to the cause of the kingdom, and then you go off and you do something that is contrary to what the kingdom would necessarily hold, your kids are looking at you. And those little eyes and those little ears are listening and hearing things that you have said and weighing them up with things that you do. So I throw that out to all of us, to those of you in the workplace, to those of you who are in the ministry. Be careful, be careful, be careful completely that what you say, you actually do. Now in chapter 7, Jesus warns us about a particular type of hypocrisy. He's nailing the scribes and the Pharisees here, and he talks about the hypocrisy that comes from the law. You see, the law caused us to look like believers. The law, by its behavioral pattern and its suggestions and its application, made us look like we were one step above the rest, that we were one level higher than the other people around us. And when we look at that, isn't that what hypocrisy is? It's an elevation of yourself just so that you can look good. It's an elevation of yourself so that others will say, hey man, there goes the guy. You know, he is so spiritual. And so the scribes and the Pharisees would do all sorts of things. And they would fast and they would moan and they would put dust on their faces to make it look like they were so tired and that they were hungry, because they wanted the applause of people. When we want the applause of people more than the applause of God, we're on the road to hypocrisy. So hypocrisy is abiding by the rules and the regulations, as good as the rules and the regulations may be, but with the wrong motive. We just want to look good. And Jesus warns us about that a number of times. He says, you Pharisees, you're like a bunch of whitewashed sepulchres. You look great on the outside. You look so clean and shiny and fantastic. But inside, you're just a bunch of dead bones. You're just dry bones inside. You're basically hypocrites. So we have to measure our own lives according to what our conscience will tell us. But some of us, sadly, have got seared consciences where we can get away with all this stuff and not think about it anymore. We can pretend that we are who we think we are, but we know we're not, over and over and over again, but the truth will ultimately come out. So this is an incredible warning to everybody. Jesus cursed the fig tree that bore no fruit. Let's make sure that our hypocrisy level is low and our integrity level is high, especially in spiritual things. When we say these spiritual things, when we pray these beautiful prayers and preach sermons, let's make sure to the best of our ability we live up to that, so there can never come the accusation that we, like the Pharisees, fall into the trap of being just like the hypocritical fig tree. Think about that. It's a tough one today, but have a good day. Bye, people.